You're at a wedding, and a good friend of yours has a terrible stain on the back of her blouse, dress thing. Right? Whatever. Do you tell her? Yes or no? How many of you will show your hands? Would you? Stain?
No, why? What should we do about it?
You can put clubs
When
in
it's at the
on
fight,
it.
you can
That's
go and
about it.
change.
Right.
Okay.
If they, right? Everybody can go and change. Yeah. Call mom, SOS, go deliver me a new, right?
Or just like put on a cardigan or something.
Right?
Okay, then cardigans.
I don't know. Some people
Right, I don't think anyone has an extra dress on them.
Their coat?
Yeah, like
Depends how bad.
yeah, it
It's not
depends
so
how.
bad, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
If it's like she would want to know.
You'd say regardless. Okay. What about you show up to pretend you're in a few years in the future. You show up to a bar mitzvah or a bas mitzvah, and you're wearing the exact same dress as the mother of the Baal Simcha. So you're walking into the hall, and you notice at first that she's wearing the exact same dress, outfit, that you purchased H&M, I don't know, whatever, right? Now, what do? Talk of the scenario.
You go home and you change.
What would you
I
do?
don't think it's such a big deal that you're wearing the same dress. It's like, it's not as bad as the stain.
How many people think? How many agree or disagree?
I agree with that.
It depends. Like, let's say it's like not a fancy bar mitzvah. It's kind of embarrassing to the
Baal Simcha?
mother that she's wearing a low cheapy dress, the same as someone that's showing up like a random person.
But it's not cheap dress. This is a $500 dress. Is that cheap or expensive?
No one would show up with.
$500 expensive.
Yeah.
People, $500 is expensive. Learn that. $500 expensive. You're wearing a $500. You bought a $500 dress. The Baal Simcha is wearing a $500 dress. It's beautiful. It's very elegant, but it's the same dress.
You wouldn't wear it as a guest in the first place.
But you did. I mean, it happened. What do? Do you go home and change?
I mean, out of respect to the mother, I guess you should.
I mean, it's a weird thing. Hop in your car. It doesn't matter. You wouldn't change.
It's just a dress. It's like,
Just a dress. You're grappling here.
If it was easy to go home and change, I'd change. If it was like a 50-minute drive, then no, I'm not going to go.
If it was at the bayou, would you go home?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well, you're not that far.
So mission.
But it's
You
right.
can borrow from someone.
What about if it was at the terrace?
No, I wouldn't.
I might just leave and go home.
And then I'll come back.
But like what?
It's like you
if
say
it's
Mazel tov when you
expensive and
leave.
you're coming, and like obviously you felt comfortable wearing a $500 dress, maybe like I don't know, you could afford it, you're fancy. Then like why would you go home and change?
Because the mother's wearing the same dress.
But like it's embarrassing to you. I don't understand.
It's embarrassing to her.
But if
because
it's
then
such a
everyone else
fancy
looks at her.
dress, then
Someone else
who
bought it.
cares?
is anyone gonna really notice if you're wearing the same dress? How many people are there?
What, people notice?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
more emotion.
Yeah.
Maybe like stay away from her the whole time. So you're not.
Just don't say mouth up to her.
Till the very end.
Okay. How far do we have to go not to make someone feel bad? Anyone know the source for not embarrassing someone, the most extreme case in the Torah? That someone was willing to do not to embarrass me.
I don't know if I'm right. It's like Yehuda and Tom.
Excellent. Very good. Very good.
I never get these answers.
Good for you. So what's the scenario? The case is the following. Yehuda had 3 sons. The first son was married to Tamar. First son dies. Second son was married to Tamar. The second son dies. Tamar wants to marry the third son. What does Yehuda say? Not so fast. Okay, my son's too shetla, he's too young. He'll be ready in a few years. Meanwhile, Tamar cannot marry anyone else. It was like pre-Yibum type of status. Yehuda has totally forgotten about Tamar and has left her out there in the cold. Tamar decides to take it into her own hands. You're ever familiar with this story, right? Periklam. And what does she do? She seduces Yehuda. Yehuda is not able to pay for the cost of the act, so he gives a down payment, his signet, his staff, his whatever, and says, okay, I'll pay you the next day, I'll pay you another time. Fast forward a few months, it's brought to Yehuda's attention that Tamar was unfaithful, and she's pregnant. They're about to burn her to the stake, and Tamar says, I just want to make an announcement. The owner, who owns these, like, staff and signets, like, who owns these things? That's the person that made pregnant. Now, Yehuda could have said nothing. Quiet. And what would have happened? Tamar would have been taken. She would have been killed. Yehuda instead says, shh, Sat Jul. Fine. The Gemara on this says, better to be thrown into the Kivshon Eish for all Yabin Pnei Chaver Barabim. Tamar could have said, okay guys, guess who this belongs to? Him. Instead, she'd rather be thrown into the fire than embarrass this person in public. That is the source for all Yabin Pnei Chaver Barabim. And maybe it's Kilu Shofech Tamim, as even I'm sure you've heard that expression before. Kilu Shofech Tamim, why is it you embarrass somebody? They turn red, they're killing them. Okay. So, with that, I want to take a look at a couple of very, very interesting sources. So what I told you that says, Noach lo Adam, sheyashlich atzmo el kivshan eish, v'al yabin pnei chava barabim, is actually a Gemara. It's a Gemara that's found in... You need 2 pages. 2 pages, sorry, no stapler. That's what happens when I do it in my house and not at an institution that doesn't staple things. I was too lazy to staple it. I want to have a copy? Yeah, 2 pages.
No, it's okay.
Oh, hang on. What's here? No. What do you need? I don't need a copy. I have my computer.
Do you have the...
Hey, what's over there?
Do you have the time for that one?
So 2 of you guys, so share. I'll keep a copy. I've actually probably have a bunch of copies on my desk that I probably left them there. But I'm not going to write to my desk. It's not worth it. Turn to the back of page 1. Can anyone tell me why is it that kavod habriot, dignity, is so important? Why is it that we have to be so concerned with people's dignity? Why? Why should I care? So the answer is, listen to this. This is where the Sichas Musar from Rav Chaim Shmulevitz said, Nira sheyesod chomer kavod habrios v'gdulaso hu mishum she'adam atzmo gadol me'od. V'lachein kvodo chamor kol kach. Do you understand? Do you understand the greatness of a human being? It's unbelievable. Chamor me'od. Ela sha'anu ein lanu hashkacha b'gadlus ha'adam. It should be so obvious why you have to give people dignity and respect. But the reason why we think it's a big deal is we don't recognize the greatness of a human being. Gedulaso shala adam. And that's why everyone is created but some lokim. Every person is created as a human being, and we are obligated to give them kavod and respect. Why? Because that's who they are. And the fact that we think, oh, it's such a big deal is because we don't recognize the gadlus of a person. Unbelievable statement by Chaim Shmulevitz. Question?
No.
You're looking at me. Okay, fine. Okay. Wow, that's pretty powerful. Okay, here we go. Listen to this. Let's say a person is walking. Shatnez. What is shatnez? Shatnez is tzemer pishtim, wool and linen. By the way, midoraisa, shatnez is like 50-50. 50 wool, 50 linen. So a person is walking on the street. He discovered during shatnez. What should they do? Take off their clothes? Good question. Fair question. So I'm walking down the street. My friend's like, wow, that's a really nice suit. What's it made of? Let me take a look. Do you see what it says on the label? 50% wool, 50% linen. Now, I admit that's very difficult because pants aren't made of linen, meaning, well, I mean, my pants aren't made of linen, but there are pants made of linen. So if you actually would roll them in together, right? Let's say the guy didn't notice. He bought a suit and realized that literally 50% wool. They I don't know. I think women's clothes do the same thing. They take the percentage of material, right? 50% wool, 50% linen. Mamas completely like interwoven. It's not like the Chinese guy can take out a thread and you're okay. You're toast. You take off your suit? You're in the marketplace. You're in the shuk. You're not like in a private home. Yes. Well, why are you saying no? Why no? It's a deraisa.
Let's keep it dignity. Humans are very valuable on their.
Yeah, but if it's a suit jacket and you.
Okay, suit jacket's not a problem. Forget that. That's a joke. We're talking about pants. Yeah. Now, in the olden days, they actually didn't wear undergarments necessarily. But we'll leave that for now.
No.
Right?
Then no.
Leave your suit on. Yeah. Says the Gemara, you take it off. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Hamotzi Kilayim Bevigdo Poshtan Afilu Bashuk. You gotta take off now. Let's talk about this for a second. If you wear shatnez, what are you violating? Okay. So is it an aseh or lo aseh? Lo aseh. You're not allowed to wear it, right? Lo silba shatnez. So it's a lo aseh. It's a lav. What's the punishment for transgressing a positive? What is the punishment for transgressing a negative commandment? What do you get in times of base statement? You get a love, a lo saseh. If you eat non-kosher food, not now. I mean, in times of chazal, what would you punish by? Malkos, 39 lashes, right? Pretty bad. Gotta take off your clothes, take off your suit. That's what it says.
It says in public?
In public. Amotzi kilayim b'video postan afilu bashuk. Even in the marketplace. You cannot violate Yisur D'Oraisa. Now, what happens in the following scenario? You're walking and you see your friend. You're like, oh my goodness, I don't believe it. They're wearing a suit that I almost bought yesterday. I didn't because it's shatnez. What do you do? Hey, Steph, come on in. What do you do? Now, is this the same or different than you discovering that you're wearing shatnez? There's a halacha that you're not allowed to wear wool and linen mixed together. It's called shatnez. Can't wear wool and linen together. What's the reason for it? Not for now. Can't do it. It's like, what's the reason for why you can't have pig? Lots of reasons, but you can't eat pig. You can't wear wool, clothing that are made of the wool and linen mixed in together. If you discover that you're wearing wool and linen together, you gotta take off your clothes, take off your suit, even in public. But what happens if you see your friend wearing shatnez, wool and linen together? Do you say to them, I got bad news? Is that the same or different than if you discover yourself? Different. Why is it different?
Because it's not you, it's another person.
So, what, they're allowed to?
They could be more embarrassed.
But, what?
They're going to be more embarrassed.
So why does it doesn't matter if they don't, because they don't know, therefore?
Like, if they're actually going to listen to what you say, then you should.
Then they'll listen. They will listen. They are a God-fearing Jew.
So then, what's the problem? Yeah.
So, if you know that you're wearing shatnez, and you don't take it off, what is that called? And what type of veir is it? Hierarchy. You are doing something, b'mezid. What's mezid? Intentional, violating a negative prohibition. Is your friend violating intentionally a biblical prohibition?
No.
No, it's b'shogeg by accident. Now you'll appreciate the source. Rabbeinu Asher states, if a person sees a friend wearing shatnez and the friend doesn't realize, one should not inform them publicly. Rather, one should wait until the person gets home, because human dignity demands that one should remain silent, rather than try to spare them from accidental violation. That is, our topic is human dignity. So let's create our hierarchy. What do we see from here? This is always, when we talk about ethics, we talk about especially moral ethics, and how we treat other people. It's a hierarchy. That's what we've been doing the past couple of weeks. So here we go. Hierarchy. Human dignity is very important. Don't embarrass people. Now, here we go. What about, should you embarrass them, even if it means they're going to violate a negative prohibition? The answer is, not other people, you. Well, if you have a choice, embarrass yourself. Lack of human dignity, obviously. Violating a negative prohibition, the answer is, embarrass yourself. You should be embarrassed. You need to remove your clothing. I should actually say something. For women, it might be different. It's like to men. Because if for women, that's other negative prohibitions that are a problem. Right? For men, it's not the same. So, a man, to clarify, might have to take off his suit if he's wearing shadis min haTorah, not if it's Rabbanan. In the modern era, most suits are not shadis. Not only are they not shadis, but if they are a little shadis, maybe in the suit under by the collar, there's like a thread. Sometimes that could be linen. So when you get your suits, check for shadis, they'll remove it. That's about the only thing that could be shadis, maybe a little bit in the lining, but that's really it. Unless the suit is 50% wool, 50% linen. If it says 100% wool, maybe you have a thread or two in the collar that they don't need to say that it's linen. Although this is a 100% true story. My father, Alva Shalom, 20 years ago, was at the flea market in Miami. I went to the flea market in Miami for Lando, whatever it was. He bought a suit jacket, a blazer, that said a label, 100% wool. He took it to get checked for shatnez. He got a phone call. Sir, your suit jacket is 50% wool, 50% linen. Completely woven, mixed together. You have to throw it out. But the label said, now, this is a flea market. This isn't like a real reputable store. So sometimes where you buy your clothing makes a difference. For women's clothing, wool and linen, it's not like a famous, no? I don't think it's not like, women don't really wear wool clothes, right? Skirts made out of wool?
Heavy jackets?
Yeah.
Oh, heavy jackets are made out of wool?
Yeah, the winter ones are made of wool.
Sweaters?
Yeah.
Wool. Yeah, but not about linen. Will they put linen in there?
No, it's usually like fully wool.
Right. Okay. So for men, doing things like an issue or suits, not much else. Yeah.
So isn't it just not even a question because one of them is Min HaTorah and one of them is extrapolated from the Gemara?
What is?
The commandment of that you should rather die or be thrown into the Kitzon Aish instead of.
So it appears it is embarrassing someone in public is a biblical prohibition. It's a doraisa embarrassing somebody. Why is that only the Rabbanan?
That's not the same.
What? Why not? Why is it the same?
Okay.
Human dignities, of course. Min Torah. Right? Now, how far you have to go? That's an interesting question. Okay. Now, the question, I think this is something that we were discussing, is this lady who's at this wedding with a stain on her clothing. Some people might rather prefer to be told right away, go home, get changed, have the mother bring them, figure it out, as opposed to some people who would be like, better not to tell me, because the stain's on your back, you're never going to see it. Right? Until you get home. I think people are different. I think it could also be interesting. What about if someone tears the back of their shirt? Or blouse, skirt, whatever you guys wear. Right? Right? Now, so you have a tear, that maybe is issues of modesty, right? Your back is showing, right? Not showing. It's interesting sometimes what people sometimes would prefer to be told. I think even a stain, most people would rather be told and let them decide what to do. As opposed to maybe if it's discovered that they had a stain, be mortified afterwards. I think. But you could, if you want to argue, I get that. Yeah.
Can't you just whisper to them so they're not hearing everything?
Yeah. You have a stain on you. I don't think that would go over so well. Yeah, no, for sure.
That telling them isn't what's embarrassing. I think it's the fact that everyone just saw me, is watching me with a stain.
Right.
But then it's worse if you tell them after, and then they were like,
Oh my gosh, they discovered later, no one told me.
No, I agree, but
right. So
the
right.
problem is telling
What's
them.
worse?
It's the fact that they now know I've been walking around with a stain.
Right.
You could do it. Be like, I just happened to notice. It's
So, okay.
It's easy to appreciate it.
I would say it's a very
I agree.
It's not so simple. It's not so simple how to deal with it. Now, here's another question. Let's go to the business world for a minute. You guys are working together at some company, and you guys were asked to make a presentation. Okay. So you guys you divide into two different teams. Each team does a presentation. The team that presents to the whole company first, they do an job. The second group of you that presents has an outstanding presentation. It's professional, it's digital, it's much. And if you guys present it in that way, you're going to make the first group look bad. And embarrass them in front of the entire company. Do you go ahead with your fancy schmancy upscale presentation? Or do you tone it down as to not make your peers, your friends who presented earlier look bad? This is a corporate business setting. If you want me to transport it to the school setting, I can. If you think you'd respond differently. So you are the second group. There's a 10-minute break in between the two presentations. They did a mediocre to bad job. Now it's your turn. Do you tone it down? Do you change it? Do you not change it? What do you think? Go ahead. Yeah. Come back to you, no problem.
What's at stake though in the job setting? Like, is it just...
You were asked to report back. You were asked to report back on something. You're presenting your, yeah.
It's not for the possibility of like being promoted or...
No. You guys are the team of marketing people, and you're like, okay, your company tells you, we want to know, give us a plan on something. How should we go about doing this? This is our presentation. This is our presentation.
But you'd still gain something if you do a better presentation.
Yeah, sure. I mean, in a business setting, you always gain, right? The boss is there. He listens. Maybe you get promoted in 3 years from now. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, look, of course, there's always, But it's not like, you do a bad job, you're fired the next day. You do a poor job. It's not like nothing's on the line. It's not like or only one of you is going to get the job or the position. You're reporting on something, more of a neutral scenario. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm just thinking because I was given the job to do a presentation, so I'm expected to do it well. Not if the other group does it like mediocre, then that's like not my fault. If I already prepared the presentation, I can't switch the presentation to make it less than, so the other group won't feel bad. Like I had a job and I was expected to make it good.
So okay, anyone want to comment? Agree? Disagree? Yeah. Agree? You said agree?
Yeah. Are intentions never like a factor here? Like if your intentions are I want to do my best.
Yeah.
Or if your intentions are I want to make them look bad, it's totally different, right?
Is there another chair? Another chair? Okay. Is that okay? So, sorry. So what do you think? In terms of your intention is not. We're talking about a scenario. Just to catch you up, we're talking about dignity, kavod habriyot. So, in a case where a person was asked to give a presentation, okay, right? So we'll say team A, team B, work, present to the board on a marketing topic. Not like one versus the other, but present your idea. Group A goes first. They do a kacha job. Not great. The second group has an incredible presentation. Much better job. Do they tone it down? Do they make changes to make the first group not look so bad? Or do they present as planned? Why? Because by presenting this incredible presentation, the first group is going to look like schlock. They're going to look bad. They're going to feel embarrassed. Do you change what you're going to do and make it look bad? Are you obligated? Is it nice? Ellie, go on.
No, so I was just saying, is it not like, do you not take into account your intentions? Because there's so many times in halacha you have to take into account, like, someone's intentions. If it's...
Very good. So your intention is your what? Not to embarrass them.
Well, there's so many times in life, even, that you're by doing your best, it makes somebody else look bad. Like, even in terms of mitos or anything like that. So, should you not do your best and not strive for your highest, like, goal or highest level because you're going to make somebody else look bad?
What do you think?
I say no.
What? No, what?
Because your intentions aren't to make somebody else look bad or put somebody else down. It's to develop yourself into.
You have a job to do, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's the stake of someone else. Detriment to someone else.
Your intentions. If it's to better somebody, to one up somebody else, then it's obviously going to be
a problem.
Problematic.
Right. So you're not one upping them, meaning you end up one upping them, but not with intent.
Right.
So you're saying you do what you do. That's your job. It's your responsibility. You do what you do. Okay. Yeah.
I think, like, I agree with them. Like, you didn't intend, like, let's say you start your presentation, last night you're making it and whatever, but you didn't know what the other group's doing. So, like, you're just going to start doing your presentation, and if it ends up being better than theirs, like, you didn't plan on that happening.
Right.
So, why are you going to go and change it if you have no time, first of all, to change it? Because you said, like, there's a 10-minute break. How much time do you have to go and switch your whole...
Okay, you have a 2-hour break. You have a day break. Does that change it? Like 24 hours. You're not bringing it until tomorrow.
If I had another day, then yeah, I'd probably change it to something different.
You would if you're presenting. Okay, listen, it's already 3 o'clock. Forget. You know what? You guys mind presenting tomorrow? I'm so sorry. Yeah, sure, present tomorrow. Whole day.
Yeah.
To change it just to make sure that the other group
doesn't look bad.
But the thing is, like, if you put yourself in the first place, or the other person, I guess your friend in front of you, in favor of you, that's like the whole dilemma about it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if you're doing it with no purpose, when you're coming to something like that, you do your best because you want to do something in your best way.
Grab a chair. Sorry. Yeah.
You want to do something in your best way, so why not to do that?
Right.
I guess like I think that's for the learning process about the next level. If you want, after you did the presentation and the other group understood that you did something right, like you just improve that, you challenge the other person to be better. Because if we always like think about how to stay in the same level, we're not develop ourselves.
Okay. Good. Okay. Good point. Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to say that keeping your presentation at the level, if it's higher, then it serves as motivation for the other group. So if they see somebody who's on equal footing, they're going to be like, okay, I'm good being average.
Right.
Whereas the other one, they could strive to get better.
Interesting. Come on in. Go to the table. It's fine. Now, here's what interesting. Okay. So I'm not. If you cause embarrassment to somebody unintentionally, let me go through something else. If you go over to somebody and punch them in the face, there are certain things you have to pay for. Pain, suffering, loss of wages. One of them is called boshet, embarrassment. How it's calculated is not for now, because how you put a number on boshet, right? But the Gemara talks about how to calculate that number and what you take into effect. The Gemara also is very interesting. If you don't intend to harm somebody, I'll give you an example. If you are standing somewhere and someone throws you down, you fall and you break someone's fence, you break their fence, and you fall on a vegetable garden, and you kill their vegetables. So you destroyed their fence, you destroyed the vegetable garden. Now, it wasn't your fault. You fell, you tripped. You're a klutz. It happens to all of us. Now, do you have to pay for the damage that you caused? Yeah, of course you do. Adamu ad lolam. A person is always responsible. Intention, non-intention. You cause damage, you're a mazik, you have to pay. But when it comes to, if you hurt someone else, by mistake, you have to pay for damages, you don't have to pay for embarrassment. Meaning, you only pay what's called boshet if you intended to hurt them. Hi, how are you today? Punch them in the face, there's embarrassment, whatever, you have to pay some type of compensation. Only if it's intentional. Unintentional damage, you have to pay restitution, you don't pay for embarrassment. We see here, I wasn't even going to mention this, what Eli was saying was very interesting. When it comes to embarrassing somebody, intent is very important. If you don't intend to, maybe on some level, you're allowed to act and behave in a certain way. Now, You have to go above the letter of the law and try to be extra sensitive? Maybe. If it's your job to do something, there's the other issue that, no. If you get paid to do a job and you don't do it well, why aren't you stealing from the company? I'm your boss. I pay you $50,000 to be a marketing analyst. You prepared a great presentation, and instead you're using a bad presentation. Intentionally. I'm paying you money to give me a good presentation. So by you wanting to help the other person in their embarrassment, maybe you can even argue you're cheating from me. I'm your boss. I'm paying you money, and I asked you to give me a report, and now you're giving me a lousy report, and not as professional, and not why is one better than the other? Maybe, right? You're stealing from the boss. That's Geneva. That's stealing. You can't do that either. It's interesting to think about that too as part of the scenario. Just for people that walked in a little bit late, just want to catch everybody up. We're talking about embarrassing somebody, human dignity. The main source for human dignity, that a lady by the name of Tamar was willing to be burnt to death rather than embarrass someone else. Yehuda. Huh? לא אמנון ותמר, זה תמר ויהודה. בספר בראשית.
אשתו של הבן שלו.
כן, נכון.
כן, אוקיי.
Very good. Okay? So, right? Better for a person? Interesting. The language is also interesting. Better for a person. Not you're obligated to. Is that interesting language? Better to be thrown into the furnace. Not, you don't have to jump into the fire. Better to be thrown into the fire than embarrass someone publicly. So we see the... Okay. Question? Yeah.
Yeah, so like, to use the punch the other person in the face example, it doesn't really matter what your intention was exactly. Like, they're still going to have a broken nose regardless. Like,
So I'm when it comes to damages, you're always responsible. We say that a human being, as opposed to my cat, my child, my property, like if there's a wind, a crazy wind, not a regular wind, if there's a crazy wind, and I'm not being negligent. I did my due diligence. There's a crazy wind. It took a brick off the side of my house. The brick went and landed and smashed your fence. Why should I pay for it? It's a crazy wind. If I'm playing catch with my son and I throw the ball, my son misses it, and I smash your car window, I got to pay for your car window. Right? Because I caused it. That's direct. Taking a ball, throwing it. It's direct. That's called direct damage. Right? Even though it's not my hand, doesn't matter. If something leaves your hand with your kinetic energy, according to the Talmud, that's you, it's an extension of you, you're responsible. But a brick that was on my house, now if I built a faulty house and I was negligent, that's one thing. But if the house was built properly, if it's a crazy wind, if it's a regular wind, I would be responsible. If it's a crazy wind, remember the ice storm? The ice storm. That was the ice storm from a number of years ago, right? So it's like on my property, it happens, right? People are damaging. Okay, forget there's a world of insurance. That's a different issue. Insurance is totally different. Forget if there's no insurance, if your crazy thing happens, a fluke accident happens. It happens once every 100 years, and it's indirect damage, you might not be responsible. So, okay, good. I wanted to... Did I forget anything else? Oh, the other thing that I wanted to mention was how to... So again, the source of human dignity is everyone's created in the image of God. All human beings have a sense of respect that we have to honor. What if a person has no self-respect? Meaning...
That's a question that you said like, after Hakamocha, but what is like the question?
Maybe exactly. A person has a very low level. I'm trying to think of an example of this. A person behaves in a certain way that's not dignified. So, here's my example. This person always wears dirty clothing, right? So now they're wearing something which is dirty. Do you have to point out to them, oh, by the way, you're wearing a dirty blouse skirt to a wedding? That's not a good example. What would you do in that case? In that case, the person says, I don't care, right? The person's basically declaring, I don't care about standing my clothing, right? I don't care what you, let's say, would, if you point that out to me.
But if you're a boss and you have like a special guest coming to your company, and one of your employers like dressing not appropriately when someone important is coming, so you will tell to your employee,
change your clothes.
Like to your worker, change your clothes is not appropriate, even though like maybe this is his standard. He said like all the things
right.
I have.
So if you have this, I'm allowed to set a certain standard of work, and if a person comes in dressed differently than my standard of work, is it embarrassing if I send them home, or if I don't have to change? Of course it is, but I'm allowed to set a standard. Don't work for me, right? The schools do this all the time.
It's about like
right?
you put him in a position that you are embarrassing him.
Right.
So what is more important? Like
so that's interesting. You're saying the boss should say, listen, I'm going to embarrass this employee.
The name of what? Like making a good impression of someone is coming.
Right.
It's about your like.
Right. So you're a mid-level manager, and the big CEO is coming to visit today. Right. The CEO is coming to visit. You're a mid-level manager. You see one of the people that report to you. They're dressed in, let's say in like real super casual, and not business casual or business formal. They're dressed in a way which is not so good for the company. Meaning, right? And the CEO is showing up. She's doing your employee. Listen, you can't be seen by the CEO dressed like this, or you let it go.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Is embarrassing somebody telling them, like, calling them out, or is it calling them out in public? Like, is it embarrassing if you were to tell that employee, like, personally, like, maybe even not now, but next time?
Okay, so you actually asked a great question. The language that we say, so I think there's two different. Al yobish, okay, kol amabish, et pnei chavera. What's the next word? Barabim, kilu shofech damim. The language is barabim. So what do we see from here? Kol amabish et pnei chavera babayit. Maybe that's okay to do. Now, I'm not saying you should embarrass people privately, right? You follow? But it appears that the real idea of dignity is in the public setting. It's not nice to embarrass someone privately in their house, but that may be something completely different. That's just not being nice. But it appears when we talk about being yashlichotolik, when we talk about kilu shofech damim, all these things are about the public setting. So, okay. So what are you saying in that case? You should go to the person privately and say to them, you're not dressed appropriately. But what were to happen if they have to leave work that day?
So I'm saying
that's going to public embarrassment.
You have to say it in the future, like you couldn't say.
Right. The moment they're going to have to leave, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If they need to leave now, won't they be embarrassed to come to work the next day?
It's kind of like a thing. I embarrass myself instead of in front of the CEO if I'm the manager. It's about like who's first, me or my friend.
Right. But is that ego? Is that power? Again, I don't know the answer to the question. If you're the middle manager and the CEO shows up and he sees one of your people, so is he going to come to you and say, okay, now you're fired because that guy's dressed like that?
But the dress like that is just an example.
Hopefully,
it can be something else. It will be embarrassing.
Right. I'll tell you what, because at the end of the day, how a person dresses doesn't necessarily reflect their work.
Yeah.
Meaning, if the guy's supposed to do a report, or the guy's supposed to, and he says something silly and stupid, and that's very different. That makes the guy look bad. He's not wearing a button-down shirt. He's wearing a T-shirt. Right? He's not Israeli. He doesn't agree with anything. It's just the way it goes. Right? So that would be interesting. And how much heat do you have to take? Like, okay, so the CEO will say to me, how come your employees don't know about the dress code? I could say, every day dress is fine. Come do a surprise visit. He'll be fine. Today's just a bad day. Sure, whatever, right? Or like, you understand, like, how much heat do you take to protect somebody else? Or no, like, you dressed that way. You messed up. It's your fault. So I think when we talk about human dignity, we do have to be very sensitive about other people. We have to be very cognizant and aware of how we're treating other people, what we say in front of people. Again, why is it kilu shofech damim? So a lot of people say it's because when a person gets embarrassed, actually there's two different comments. Some is that their face turns red. Some people say the face turns white. So the face turns white, you're killing them because they're going from red to white. If it's going to red, it's like you're killing them because it's like, like frying them to death. But that's to me a technical thing. And again, it says kilu shofech damim. Meaning, we don't treat the person like a murderer. Right? If Reuven is coming with a gun to kill Shimon, what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to kill Reuven. Try to hit him in the leg, right? It's called Abal or Gachash Gem Nargo, a rodef, right? If a person is about to embarrass somebody, are you allowed to take a gun and kill them? That's too much exaggeration. You follow? If we really say it's shofech damim, if Reuven's about to embarrass Shimon publicly, you pull out a gun and kill Reuven, you're like, well, Reuven's about to kill Shimon, how? By embarrassing him, so I gotta kill him. If Reuven is about to murder Shimon, I'm allowed to kill Reuven, or shoot his leg, or take him out. So Reuven's about to embarrass Shimon. Why can't I take Reuven out? The answer is, so it appears that we only mean this homiletically. We don't mean this literally. Right? We mean this like derech drash, derech agarata, derech musari. It's like an ethical, moral idea. It's not a real practical, take out a gun and shoot Reuven. There are those who want to argue that maybe you'd be allowed to do something to Reuven, so he doesn't embarrass him. Like maybe you could hit him. Right? That Shimon, oh, I'm so sorry, Reuven. Oh, Reuven falls to the ground. I'll hit somebody. But maybe you might be allowed to, if it's going to... Interesting dilemma. That would be a very interesting dilemma. Are you allowed to, take out Shimon, knock him, hit him, trip him, so he doesn't embarrass Shimon? Could you hurt somebody, and then Reuven tries to sue you? You're like, well, listen, you're about to... Anyways, enough for now. Conversation for another time. Anyways, I'm going to play these ideas. We go through our series on human interactions and human ethics. That was the one of the things I wanted to mention. Next, I forgot to ask this. Who was at the luncheon that I gave last Wednesday? You. So I'm glad I didn't do that topic today. Okay, good. Because I was going to do, what did I do last week? Lying. Last week on Wednesday I did a lunch and learn. I chose another one of these topics, which was when truth clashes with peace. Emet and Shalom when they clash, right? But I didn't do it today because I did it at the luncheon last week and I didn't want to repeat it for people. So one person, and I do something new. Okay, great. We'll start there for today.